Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star 2 Land of Origin based on novel. So let's start. The Land of Origin is only so vast. Logically, such a strong entity shouldn't suddenly emerge, Emperor Qing said thoughtfully. I'll ask the Lord of 10,000 Realms to see if it's him. The 11 emperors were also waiting. Their prime suspect at the moment was indeed the Lord of 10,000 Realms. Previously, they had confirmed the black-robed figure to be Di Fu of Luo He, but now some doubts arose. After all, it's been not long since Luo He achieved the godly king realm. Could he suppress 8 emperors working together? And without leaving any traces? Whoosh! Emperor Qing sat there. Yet a ripple had already crossed vast distances, descending upon the capital of Wanjie Kingdom. Lord. A thought arrived in this capital. The Lord of 10,000 Realms was currently in closed-door cultivation. He was tall and had a gentle appearance. Looking up at the condensing figure of Emperor Qing in front of him, he couldn't help but sigh, "Old friend, your strength has become more and more unfathomable." In this era, only the two of them on the Land of Origin had comprehended the complete Great Tao. They were competitors as well as fellow travelers. It's just that Emperor Qing's resource conditions were much better than the Lord of 10,000 Realms, taking a step ahead to reach above God King, and he began to venture into the outside world, increasing the gap between them. Venturing into the outer worlds, although more dangerous, also offers more experiences and opportunities. Emperor Qing smiled at the Lord of 10,000 Realms. I invited you to join me in the past, yet you were reluctant. You reached above God King before venturing out. I still remain in the ultimate realm, said the Lord of 10,000 Realms. The difference between the ultimate realm and above God King is qualitative. Ordinary beings in the ultimate realm, life in the outside worlds is still too harsh for them. We are both creatures nurtured by the source world, protected by the supreme rules of the source world, Emperor Qing said. Even if our avatars die in the outside worlds, the avatars that stay at home can recover their strength and dispatch new avatars. This is the advantage of creatures from the source world. Born in the source world and possessing clone technique, the likelihood of death becomes very low. I've heard that the outer worlds also face a great crisis. It could even affect the avatars within the source world, said the Lord of 10,000 Realms. Yes. Emperor Qing said, if you're really unlucky and encounter high-level primordial life, their level of life, their realm, is too high above us. Even though the supreme rules can block many attacks, soul pollution is unavoidable. Once we're contaminated, all our avatars' souls will be contaminated. Too strong contamination, even avatars will completely perish, Emperor Qing explained. Previously, Luo Feng's spiritual will in the ultimate realm of God King, just a segment of a dream vision, resulted in a mild contamination. High-level primordial life, so terrifying, the Lord of 10,000 Realms was shocked. The probability is very low, Emperor Qing said. Predecessors like Yuan are also trying to protect us, the weaker ones, and are working hard to nurture us. Thus, we only face low-level primordial life. If a low-level primordial life could evolve into a high-level primordial life and we happen to encounter it, that would just mean we have bad luck. You see, the ancestors of the two countries also lived for so long, Emperor Qing smiled. As long as we are a bit more careful and avoid the most dangerous places, those of us from the source world with avatars are relatively safe. Is it true that most creatures from outside worlds don't have avatars? The Lord of 10,000 Realms asked curiously. Emperor Qing nodded. Only creatures born in the source world might have avatars. That's also an advantage of us, the creatures of the source world. The Lord of 10,000 Realms nodded in understanding. By the way, that black-robed figure who killed Di Yuan, do you know his identity? Asked Emperor Qing. The battle back then was massive. I observed from a distance and only saw the endless blood river and the primordial space 8 phases array. I couldn't see through the identity of the black-robed figure, said the Lord of 10,000 Realms. You didn't suspect it was me? On the surface, the most likely one in the Land of Origin with the strength to do this would be you, Emperor Qing said with a smile. But I know you too well, it's not your style. The Lord of 10,000 Realms nodded. I too wonder, just who is this black-robed figure? Even the 8 emperors using the primordial space 8 phases array couldn't stand against him, yet he managed to suppress it. Emperor Qing frowned. If it's not you, and it can't be the East Extreme Domain ancestor, then who could it be? The rise of a strong entity is a process. From primal chaos realm, first realm of godly king, second realm of godly king, to the ultimate realm, growing step by step. In theory, there should be traces, the Lord of 10,000 Realms said. The Lord of the Shadow Sky realm also cultivates the matter and infinite great Taos. If he achieves ultimate, by pioneering a new great Tao and being recognized by the infinite space, he could exchange for a very suitable and powerful secret treasure for himself. It is possible to exert such strength, the Lord of 10,000 Realms speculated. The infinite space rewards generously for pioneering a great Tao. The fire ancestor is even more favored by Yuan and also has a slim possibility. And that Luo He who just entered the primal chaos realm, is already demonstrating a transcending primal chaos strength. Just becoming a godly king, he is already the strongest first realm godly king ever known. Just entering the second realm of godly king, he is capable of contending with the dark sky venerable of the destruction army. This Luo He could also possibly create miracles. The Lord of 10,000 Realms thought, considering the entire land of origin, those capable of creating miracles, doing inconceivable things, could only be these 3. Other cultivators' talents all fall short compared to them. Shadow Sky Realm, Fire Ancestor, Luo He? Emperor Qing smiled. No rush, with such strength, he will reveal more and more of himself. The Lord of 10,000 Realms nodded. The strength of the black-robed figure is too terrifying. They don't want to risk exposing his identity. Flame Wind Ancient Country and Thunder Ancient Country occupy the very center of the land of origin, which is also the most prosperous area. Surrounding them are also Tianmu Kingdom, Wanjie Kingdom, 2 top-tier countries, and a large number of second- and third-tier countries. The Iron Demon Lord, ranked first in sins in the land of origin, initially dominated a second-rate country and even essentially controlled the surrounding dozen or so countries, as he had once plundered the populations of 12 countries in one swoop. The surrounding godly kings had long fled, not willing to be neighbors with this Iron Demon Lord. Now, Di Yuan is dead, and the Iron Demon Lord has also disappeared. The surrounding dozen or so countries have lost their leader. Naturally, there were undercurrents of strife. The territory actually controlled by the Iron Demon Lord includes 3 second-rate countries and 13 third-rate countries, a total of no less than 359 primal chaos prefectures. Such a vast area qualifies to establish a first-rate country. There are many forces coveting this territory. There are forces backed by the 2 ancient countries, the 3 alien clans, and that black-robed figure might also intervene. Various forces initially restrained themselves, but over time they gradually began to fight each other. Huyang City, city owner's mansion. Luo Feng was inside the Star Tower, examining the spoils of war before him. A red cloak, a set of armor, a bead, a pair of gloves, and a pair of combat boots. 5 beyond God King level secret treasures. Luo Feng was also studying the mysteries contained in these treasures. Unfortunately, these 5 treasures are most suitable for Di Yuan. Each one is centered around the origin Tao of the world. These 5 treasures. Each one is centered around the origin Tao of the world, while also encompassing many other mysteries. Clearly, they are above the godly king level. This bead, for instance, has some use. Luo Feng picked up a black bead containing an evolving abyss. This bead, with the world at its core, and accommodating both the paths of life and destruction. The 3 paths evolve the abyss together. It is somewhat helpful for me. These gloves also hold some mysteries of the destruction path. As for the other treasures, I can't use them at all. Luo Feng felt helpless. Exchanging treasures in the infinite space treasure vault, one can freely choose, selecting what is most suitable for oneself. But what about the spoils of war from killing Di Yuan? No choice, they were the secret treasures suitable for Di Yuan. Even this bead is centered around the Tao of the world. Luo Feng was somewhat disdainful. This abyss pearl could be used to aid in cultivation but was unsuitable for combat. These 5 treasures are wasted in my hands, I should think of a way to sell them. Luo Feng pondered. Master, Morosa suddenly transmitted a message. Luo Feng's thoughts moved, summoning Morosa in. What's wrong? Luo Feng looked at Morosa. Master, the realm essentially dominated by the Iron Demon Lord has now erupted into conflict between various parties. Morosa couldn't help but say, shall we intervene and seize that territory? Luo Feng waved his hand, and a vast map of the land of origin appeared before him. The Iron Demon Lord essentially controlled 3 second-rate countries and 13 third-rate countries. The territory is quite extensive, Luo Feng observed. It was the support from Di Yuan that enabled him to govern such a territory, Morosa spoke. Di Yuan's death naturally attracted many forces. Such a vast territory with its regular output of rare natural treasures, the residence fees provided by countless cultivators, and even some demons devouring creatures, this vast area will attract many ancient existences. They are now fighting, even minor repercussions will affect many weaker cultivators. Morosa looked at Luo Feng. If the master were to govern this territory, it could also become stable. Luo Feng carefully observed the land of origin map, pondering for a moment. Killing these great sinners does indeed leave behind quite a bit of territory. Luo Feng looked down and casually drew a line. The territory of the Iron Demon Lord, the territory of the Black Vulture Ancestor, and the leftover territory of the Sky Hu God King, are all in this area. With this stroke, the Iron Demon Lord was between the 2 ancient countries. The Black Vulture Ancestor was on the side of the Thunder Ancient Country. The line drawn by Luo Feng completely encapsulated both, as well as some countries, forming a slender strip-shaped territorial pattern. This territory has been in long-term conflicts, and there are many demons lurking, Luo Feng said. We'll take it over. Master, the Black Vulture Ancestor is still alive and is in control of this territory. He actually controls 287 primal chaos prefectures. It's said that he controls it, but in reality, it's the Thunder Mountain monarchs behind him. Morosa couldn't help but say, we've just seriously offended the Flame Wind Ancient Country, and now we're going to take away such a large territory from the hands of Thunder Mountain? Does the Black Vulture Ancestor have an opinion? Or do the monarchs behind him dare have an opinion? Luo Feng glanced at Morosa. Morosa shivered. He was still too timid. We'll follow the master's decision, Morosa immediately responded. Luo Feng looked at the territory map before him. With this stroke, he had delineated a territory comprising 729 primal chaos prefecture. In terms of size, it was much larger than Tianmu Kingdom, Wanjie Kingdom, and East Extreme Domain, and it came close to matching the 2 ancient countries. The stronger his power, the more Luo Feng was willing to protect creatures. This primal chaos prefecture was seen as a backyard by Thunder Ancient Country in some areas, while other areas acted as buffer zones between the 2 ancient countries, Wanjie Kingdom and Tianmu Kingdom. Without the tacit approval of the rulers and monarchs of the 2 ancient countries, how could Iron Demon Lord and Black Vulture Ancestor wreak havoc for so long? Taking over this territory means I'm also stepping onto the stage, thought Luo Feng. With a public identity, it will be more convenient to make deals with the 2 ancient countries and the 3 alien clans. Although he killed Di Yuan, Luo Feng was still willing to trade with Flame Wind Ancient Country. He believed that Flame Wind Ancient Country would handle their relationship rationally. If Flame Wind Ancient Country really went mad, Luo Feng wouldn't mind making another move to give them a wake-up call. Master, how shall we seize this territory? Morosa looked at his master. Morosa, to conquer these 729 primal chaos prefectures, you'll be the one to wage war. Luo Feng smiled at Morosa. Me? Morosa pondered thoughtfully, his eyes flashing with brilliance. Master, these 729 primal chaos prefectures are complicated matters, and I'm to wage war alone? With your identity as my servant, you can wield the strength of a pinnacle sector beast, Luo Feng said. As a pinnacle sector beast, there shouldn't be a problem taking over this area, right? Morosa felt his blood boiling, and a tinge of bloodlust appeared in his eyes, excitedly saying, after waiting for so long, Master has finally allowed me to unleash the real power of a sector beast. He had been holding back for far too long. Luo Feng's eyelid twitched, and he quickly cautioned, Morosa, You know what should be done and what should not. He wanted to rule over the 729 primal chaos prefectures, not to cause widespread disaster. Don't worry, Master hates evil as much as I do. I know what to do, Morosa replied. Shall I start now? Luo Feng nodded. Although in terms of power, understanding the great Tao of life and death and having the Star Tower made him stronger. But in terms of various methods, an ultimate realm sector beast had more. Nighttime found Morosa floating high in the sky, looking down upon the vast world. His gaze was distant, his soul's desires beginning to stir. I've endured for too long, and finally, with Master's permission, I can indulge a little. Morosa was well aware his actions had to stay within the framework set by his Master. Master hates evil, and those who are sinful won't invite his objections when I kill them. Hehehe, you're my targets. Delightful morsels, I'm coming for you. Morosa was far stronger than Luo Feng in identifying enemies, instantly locking onto the presence of all godly king-level beings within the 729 primal chaos prefectures. Such was the norm for an ultimate realm being. Wind Wolf Country, a third-rate nation located in the buffer area between Wanjie Kingdom and Thunder Ancient Country, was inconspicuous. Luo Feng's demarcated territory happened to include the Lanky, middle region covering Wind Wolf Country. The territory practically ruled by Iron Demon Lord is now a mess. I hope it doesn't spread here, brooded the Wind Wolf Country Master as he consumed a crystal sphere, which contained over 100 million creatures. As a guest elder of Thunder Ancient Country with primordial bloodline, the supply of blood food in this third-rate nation was more than enough for the Wind Wolf Country Master. For someone like him, situated on the fringe within a small nation and merely consuming blood food in moderation within his own domain, he was already keeping quite a low profile. I am a guest elder of Thunder Ancient Country, and the spirit guardian lord of Wanjie Kingdom is also my friend, felt the Wind Wolf Country Master, confident that no matter the changes outside, his position was secure. Suddenly, an invisible force enveloped him. Wind Wolf Country Master was shocked and looked around, only to find himself in a dark place with ripples at the edges. Mercy, before he could utter another word, his physical body and spirit had melted, utterly dissolved to become part of the Dark Realm. Wind Wolf Country Master cultivated the primordial bloodline, but was still too weak. Next, Morosa muttered with a smile, savoring his godly king-level food, as a treat that included both flesh and soul was too rare. And so, one morsel after another. Morosa treasured his food dearly, taking his time with each one. Even Black Vulture Ancestor fell victim to Morosa's consumption. How is this possible? Black Vulture Ancestor was dumbfounded. Inside a hidden palace, this avatar of his was suddenly swallowed. The primordial bloodline he cultivated was toxic, capable of damaging even ultimate realm life forms. Yet now there was someone who swallowed him directly. After being consumed, this avatar of his vanished instantly, and his other avatars elsewhere were also destroyed by an invisible curse killing, except for the one in Mount Leitang, which barely survived. Last time it was an attack by a black-robed being's spiritual will, now I've been consumed and cursed, thought the Black Vulture Ancestor, bitter and aggrieved. This reputed existence was reduced to the point where only by hiding in Mount Leitang could his avatar survive. Morosa consumed 9 sinful godly kings in a row, with only Black Vulture Ancestor escaping death. The other 8 godly kings, regardless of their survival skills, could not escape the clutches of the Pinnacle Sector beast. What? 8 godly kings have died in a row? 2 from the second realm of Godly King and 6 from the first realm of Godly King? It's unknown if they had a chance to reincarnate. In the land of origin, there were only a few hundred godly kings in total. Now, with 8 dying one after the other, it certainly made other godly kings in land of origin tremble, fearing for their lives, worried they might be next. It's time for the next step. After consuming some sinful godly kings, Morosa chuckled and instantly created 23 avatars to meet the other godly kings lingering in this territory. Yunnan Country, royal capital. Godly kings of the surrounding nations are dying one after another. The Yunnan godly king was uneasy when suddenly darkness enveloped the entire royal capital, and a figure of a simple old man appeared, looking at her coldly. Under the influence of his invisible aura, The Yunnan godly king felt her insignificance. This old man could probably end her life with a single thought. Yunnan godly king felt in the dark that this was the most terrifying existence she had ever seen. Supreme. Yunnan godly king immediately performed a respectful salute, her posture extremely low. My master intends to lead the surrounding 729 primal chaos prefectures, naturally including your Yunnan country. Morosa looked at Yunnan godly king. Your sins are light, thus you may live. Upon hearing this, Yunnan godly king immediately understood. Indeed, the 8 deceased godly kings were ones with heavy sins. You have 2 choices, 1, to follow my master's command. 2, to leave swiftly. Morosa looked at Yunnan godly king. May I ask who the Supreme's master is? Yunnan godly king asked at this moment, nervously excited. She felt that she had come in contact with a truly terrifying existence of the land of origin. This elder was the most powerful being she had ever seen, yet he was but a servant. How terrifying must his master be? Not long ago, my master just killed Di Yuan. Morosa said. Yunnan godly king, without any hesitation, knelt down respectfully and with utmost reverence. Yunnan is willing to follow at your side. Throughout the long history of the land of origin, the only one capable of killing the emperor of the flame-wind ancient country was that mysterious existence. Most importantly, the flame-wind ancient country has yet to retaliate. They actually endured. Very well. Morosa nodded. Similar dialogues were simultaneously happening at 22 other locations. These godly kings, some were in hiding, some harbored ambitions, some were assigned. But once they encountered Morosa's avatar, with Morosa's aura merged with the path of destruction, such terrifying power made even godly kings of the second realm feel a shiver in their hearts, devoid of any thoughts of resistance. Most of these godly kings left, and a few chose to pledge allegiance and follow. Morosa did not forbid the spreading of the news, and those godly kings who left soon spread the word. *********************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************** prefectures? His servant, possibly at the ultimate realm? These two pieces of news quickly spread, and all forces were waiting for the reactions of the two great ancient countries. After all, these 729 primal chaos prefectures were too close to the two great ancient countries, and many places were adjacent. And with such a large territory, it was a direct challenge to the two great ancient countries. Would the two great ancient countries allow such a colossal force to appear? But strangely, the two great ancient countries were quiet, showing no signs of action. The 729 primal chaos prefectures were rapidly integrating. At the center of the entire territory, a large city was chosen. Based on it, a wide-scale expansion was being undertaken to become the future royal capital. Come with me. Morosa walked in the lead, with 9 godly kings following by his side. These 9 godly kings were the ones who had decided to follow Blackrobed. The black-robed golden-masked powerhouse had a huge conflict with the flame-wind ancient country. Following Blackrobed, there were risks, but likewise, there were huge opportunities. A moment later, they arrived deep within the palace, seeing a figure standing there, cloaked in silver robes. Silver robes? The 9 godly kings were somewhat puzzled. Master. Morosa performed a respectful salute. We pay respects to the king. The 9 godly kings also performed respectful salutes. Luo Feng then turned around, in a suit of silver robes and wearing a golden mask, looking down on them, and said leisurely, "As you all know, I wish to lead the 729 territories and establish a divine kingdom. The name of this kingdom will be Galaxy. Galaxy Divine Kingdom? Galaxy." They were hearing this name for the first time and immediately praised it. Congratulations to the king. Joyful tidings to the king. From now on, the Galaxy Divine Kingdom shall surely stand shoulder to shoulder with the two great ancient countries. The two great ancient countries are already waning, while our Galaxy Divine Kingdom is on the rise. The godly kings praised while also harboring hopes for their future. Luo Feng watched this scene. The naming of the Galaxy Divine Kingdom was just the first step. In the not-too-distant future, Luo Feng would completely reveal his identity. Upon the establishment of the Galaxy Divine Kingdom, The powerhouse members of my human clan from my homeland should be able to guess my identity, Luo Feng thought. Boom tilde tilde tilde. With a thought, Luo Feng activated the star tower within his body, naturally affecting an endless and vast area. The current world lifeforms were unable to reflect the elongated strip of the galaxy Divine Kingdom, but with the assistance of the star tower, the domain's reach could be much broader, enough to envelop the entire galaxy Divine Kingdom. Whoosh tilde 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 tilde. Above the skies of the 729 primal chaos prefectures, faint blood rivers appeared, causing countless creatures to look up in awe. From today on, the galaxy Divine Kingdom is established. The range of the Blood River domain shall be the range of the Divine Kingdom. The endless Blood River resounded with a grand voice, spreading through every corner of the 729 primal chaos prefectures. Such terrifying power made the ancient beings of the land of origin tremble in their heart. They also realized the third major force of the land of origin was born. This video will end here.